Today we have a lucky day because today we will see the demo of this man, Lon Brauer.
I am.
He's gonna rock and roll right now.
We'll
I'm
see.
gonna watch him doing it.
We'll rid the world of paint in our own special ways.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go!
We are in Annapolis for Paint Annapolis event. I just alone walking and looking for what to paint. Today is the actually event that we have to paint on Avenue. And this is Maryland Avenue in Annapolis, and I didn't even ask Lon if he will do the demo. I just put him on the spot and he said okay. So he's a one that can do whatever he wants to do. All right, so we have a luxury of actually watching him painting. He paints very fast, very solid approach, and we'll see how he does it.
Everybody does it. Like it when I'm in the shade. Right there. You can go horizontal this time. Maybe. And I'm working on a panel here. This is just a cut panel. This is 24 by 16, but I can go to a 1620, which would be like about here, or I can go to a 2020, or I can cut it in any different ways, but I'm kind of thinking maybe a 1620, so I'll probably lose a little bit on either edge.
Talon, what are you going to paint?
Well, right up here is the State House. It's straight, so there's all these converging lines to a one-point perspective. And it's just like railroad track. And then this thing's going in the air. And I'm going to be looking at the negative space around the dome of the thing, the building there. And I get the wires. I don't know what all's going to get in there. Flags maybe, but we'll just see what works out.
What are you doing right now?
I'm putting on some just some clear acrylic spray just to it's going to seal it down so that when I put the paint on, it's going to slide around a little bit. It'll dry pretty quick out here. It'll probably take 15 minutes. It'll be good in about 3 or 4 minutes. By the time I'm ready to go, it'll be ready to go. I'll show you my how I organize my paints. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Oh, you're well organized.
You like that? Everything's here. All I have to do is just start with a drawing, and then we'll put on some paint. I mix up, let's see, here we go. I mix kind of a dark green. I'll use that to draw with. It works nice. Oops, not that much. Put that in the pile there. So I can take that and I just mix up a dark. It's not quite black. It's a little bit more on the green side. Doesn't matter, it could be anything, but it'll give me something to draw with. Alright, let's see if we can make something happen. Oh, that one up.
So this is the scenery right here.
Oh, I want to figure out where my horizon is. Let's put it right about here. I want the dome in there. Here, and I want it about that high. So that's gonna tell me where everything is, I think. I'm not gonna make this very big. I want to do actually I want to make it smaller than that even. Let's go here. Let's move that. Yeah, let's move that over just a little bit. I know I'm gonna cut off one end to the other probably, so I want to have something to work with. Make that a little. So my 1-point perspective, everything's going to go here. So if I do that, then I go here, that here. I'm going to find my darks. There's a tree here. And then there's buildings here. So this is my spot here, so I can come up. Buildings come up like that. Yeah, they're up doing that, and then this is going to go maybe about like that. You're like looking down the street of an old western town. And this is just going to be all these buildings are kind of going to do this. And then the street's it's got a little hump in the middle, so we want to make sure we kind of understand where that is. And then this is going to have a particular profile. This comes up, this comes up, comes down, like so. And then that. There's another building in here. This is all going to be kind of loosey-goosey, so I don't really too concerned about that. There, telephone pole. About here, I guess. It's just a placeholder. It'll move. There's a bunch of tables right there. Let's put them in. A little dark mass there. And let's see, like I said, there's trees here. So, and then these. Oh, here. Sidewalk. My thinking. Sidewalk. This one's got a sidewalk. So this is the gutter of the street, so the sidewalk is here. And street in the back there, like that. And start finding shadows now. There's a shadow here. I'm not concerned about doing a really tight rendering of this thing. People don't know what it is. All right, so from there, now I'm gonna pick up just oil. I'm gonna wipe away some of it. Let the sky be.
So this is just straight oil.
This is just oil. You use mineral spirits, but today I'm using oil. So. You've used, you know the term grisaille, the idea of a gray, white, monochromatic painting essentially. Grisaille can be any color. I'll take some spirits so that can really clean it. And I'll take that telephone pole out for now. This is going to cause me problems. And then there's the street. So what I'm thinking is, again, I'm really kind of thinking that this is going to probably get cropped here. Whoops. That drops me today. And maybe here. Although that puts that right in the middle, so maybe I'll come a little further over here. I'm not married to this. That'll give me a 16 by 16. That might be really nice. All right, so there is all right, here's the gutter. It comes down here. The shadows that are coming off those buildings, they're going to be on that 1-point perspective too. So that, the edge of that shadow, here. So this is all in shadow. So then I can find some darks. There's an awning that comes out here, and then there's a window. Everything I'm putting in, I can move. There's another. Let's put that in. And let's put the telephone poles are fun because they're not, and you don't ever want to put them straight up and down. So I'm going to put that one. I'm going to put this one just a little bit the other way, just slightly off vertical. Just make it a little bit interesting. And let's see. There's a. There's a gabled roof on the end here. Put that in, I think, just for variety. There's some darkness here. Again, keeping that point perspective so that everything has to be in line with that. Windows. Let's put some windows in here. Two have to be on that same line. Not have to be exactly, but some verisimilitude. Street sign there. Another one down here. All right, now let's get rid of that. The thing I'm thinking about all the time when I'm doing something like this, I think, can I quit? Am I done? And if I hit that spot, sometimes it comes quicker than you think. And you need
So this is oil, right?
This is oil,
Just
yeah.
oiling.
Yeah. And I like oil because I can move it around. You know, acrylic, you can get, as you know, you can get very much the same effect, but you know, you get comfortable with what you work with. Now, see, I'm liking the that, and I may not do much more than that. There's a little highlight on that tree there. There's a bush here. So I'm looking at patterns of light and dark to see where I can
Just shapes.
get the shapes and where because anytime you have light against dark, that's where you start seeing things overlapping. You know, that's what it's all about, of course. And if you can get this part right, the road, again, you know, yes, you have to put things in the right place, but it's big. This is a big part of it, making this work.
I mean, it's already done.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I mean, that would be nice in a frame. I mean, you can make it work. You know. So I'm just looking for patterns. You know, I kind of squint in my eyes as I go, and I think, well, okay, there's the dark and the light, and the dark and the light. I'm gonna take this brush, a little bigger brush. You know, we all know that to make things work better, get a bigger brush. Always get a bigger brush. Things start getting too precious.
Yeah.
Get a bigger brush. Kind of liking these tables already. I don't know what they are, but it doesn't matter. I know what they are.
It's a shape.
It's a shape. It's something that kind of breaks that space. You know, I can use lines across. You know, it doesn't have to be just horizontal. It can do this, but it also can
Shadow from the
do
building.
this way. Now it's it's as a brick, but when you squint, there's really no. There are a few lines in here maybe coming from that point, but that's so. Let's just throw some color in the sky and see what happens. And we'll just pick up I'm going to go with a purple actually, because two reasons. One, it's not blue, and the other is I have purple already out. When I say purple, it's going to be mostly white, but just a little bit of purple in it. It's probably more purple than I want. Purple makes a good sky, and I can always add some blue to it if I really think I want to. But this sky is almost orange. I mean, it's not orange, but it's just real flat. All right, let's just try it. Let's just see what it does. If I don't like it, I can take it off. So, all right. So I can just, with this bigger brush, I can use this and carve around everything. I don't have to paint the dome of the Capitol or the State House. I can paint the sky around it and it'll show up. There's a concept. If you paint everything that's not the chair, or paint everything around the chair, not the chair, and the chair will show itself. Paint the negative space. See, I like that already. And then the other color that we have here in Annapolis is orange. Orange and red. Everything is orange and red brick. And purple. So I've got orange, red, and purple. Can't go wrong with that. Everything's going to work with that. Pick that up, a little bit of oil. So the building itself, this is kind of red. And I can use that probably here too. So just go here. And I want to use that same color with a lot of white to lighten it all up. So just load up some white. It's gonna make a pink. It's a kind of an orange. Well, it is. It's an orangey purpley pink. This is a color I like a lot, and it's not the same color as the purple in the sky.
It's warmer.
It is warmer. That's the orange in there. You have a good eye, man. So we're gonna take this with some oil, and we're gonna slump that in here. That's a little darker than I want it, so I'm going to add a little more white to it. Actually, shadows. Just do this. You know, you can go willy-nilly with a brush like this. This is, you know, this brush is about, you know, it's a what of an inch brush, but you can also do fine stuff like that. So, you know, there's some white in there. Wait. Picked up purple and pink. That's all right. Over here, there's another color over here, so I'm just going to put that in. So now the sidewalk itself is a little warmer, so I'm going to put just a little yellow in there. The sidewalk has a bit of a tilt to it, so we're going to put it in as a tilt. So. Let's see here. Some real orange here. Maybe a little lighter, a little bit yellower than that. Some color. The sun is hitting it sort of obliquely. I think there's a blue building in there somewhere. Put some spots in there. And something right in here. Let's just put a spot in there. I am not too far from done. Which your viewers will be thinking, what? Okay, those tables and chairs, this may go away, I may end up covering this up, but I'm gonna go and just put this in as a placeholder. There's a whole bunch of legs, so let's just put them in there. It's like masts on a boat. Put those in, a bunch of those in, kind of in here, there's these. There's one hanging in here by itself. And then I do that, and then I can take this one again. You can do most everything with one brush. Just pull some of this together. So, and then I'm going to take my knife, just a serrated steak knife. Rather than paint those highlights in, where it's catching the light, I can do that with a knife. It's a whole lot easier. Very good at doing straight lines. So while I have this out, I can reinforce these verticals. I can put a awning in there, like so. And there's a line to the street here. There's a thing here. A couple poles. Let's see, that shadow is coming off the building. I like doing quick drawings like this because I don't get caught up in details, and you know, so you know, our brain puts it together. You don't have to. I'm going to tell the viewer everything. And also, I don't want to I want to avoid as many horizontals as possible. There's going to be a few, but if I could take this and do any kind of diagonal in there as it dances, as it comes across, it really is going to make it a lot more interesting. Like so. Come in with a knife. Just pull some of that across, and I can just keep it dynamic, keep it moving. And little things like that, kind of fun. There's some green. I see like green. I'm going to put this is a sap green. I'm going to add a little yellow to it, and I don't know, a little Indian yellow and some white to lighten it up. Oh, there we go. Straight sap green. dome is darker, so let's just do, oops, that's almost too dark. Lighten it up. Try something else. We'll just do that. And that. And then, let's see, darker. Red and black make a kind of a nice brick purple that we can use for a lot of different things. We'll do it with here. Now, it's got a curve like this because it's above us, so we want to keep that in mind. It's faceted, but it's far enough away to worry about it. And there, and so on. So, and same color, just a little lighter for the lighter than that.
So during the painting, you're just maintaining the shapes, right? Not details.
No.
Just main
That's
shapes,
right. That's
forms,
Yeah.
and how they intertain with each other.
Yeah. So that drawing I put on, it seems loose, and it is, but I have a structure that I have to stay within. And at this point, oftentimes I'll come back in and redraw the painting, or redraw the drawing. Just so I make sure that I've got everything where I want. So things aren't getting wacky unless I want them to get wacky. Like this telephone pole. There's a telephone pole here that I had straightened down. I can see it now. It's actually more like this. So we got a telephone pole that's doing this, and then we got another one that's going this way. Telephone poles. That's what they do. I don't know if it's the weight of the wires or what it is, but they will do that. But even if they don't, I will make them that way because it's more interesting. But I'm looking for the little patterns of shape that indicate things that we recognize and we say, I know what that is. Like if I put that in the context of everything else, it's gutter.
So you're not spelling out the whole thing.
I'm not spelling out anything.
You're just giving the first letter and last letter, and you figure out.
It's very much like that. When they do that little trick where they'll just show you the first and last letter, and you can read the word. It's the same concept because we, as that's just how we recognize things. If you give people too much information, my thinking is that it's too much information. It's not interesting anymore. I want the viewer to work a little bit.
Right.
Because then they're engaged. And
right.
I think that's
you forcing the mind to actually wonder, right?
And actually, most people, even someone who's not trained in art, they will look at this and they say, "Oh, I know where that is. I know exactly where that is." And they're not, there's nothing there. It's not a photograph. If I want to do a photograph, I can do a photograph. That's not a problem.
No, we're trying to avoid any photograph.
Well, it's that's not what I'm trying to do. Painting is a different kind of experience that.
Rendering.
Yeah, it's rendering the hand of the maker, obviously, but also it's seeing a particular image that is just a different presentation. So it's like watching a film or watching a still image or watching or looking at sculpture as opposed to looking at there's all different kinds of ways to.
So basically, this is how you see.
No, this is not how I see. It is how I see, but what I had to do over time is try to understand what it is that we see when we look at things, and this is what we see. And once you understand that we really are looking only at patterns, I don't see a building. I don't see any buildings. I don't see any these tables and chairs. I don't see these chairs and tables. I see patterns, and when that gets into my brain, then I've got a picture, which I don't have a picture, of these chairs. There must be chairs there. That has to be. We make sense of patterns so that we can function in the world. It's we do it all the time when we drive. We have to figure out when we see something 1.5 miles away down the road. What is it? Is it a cow? Is it a horse? Is it a truck? What is it? And we make decisions, and it's all based on experience. I think that's really fascinating. So I can do things like this. There's nothing like that out there. And I can't do that with a photograph. I can do it here. I can do the same thing here, so I can come down. Just, and then I can come more in perspective. There are two barricades down there, so I'm gonna see if I'm not gonna put stripes in, but I can put well, that's not what I wanted, but we'll just put that in. I don't like that. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. So at some point you have to say, well, okay, is that enough? I'm kind of digging it, actually. So I want this to be I want this whole thing to be a little hotter here down the street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape this off, because I can't just keep putting light paint on top of it, because it's just going to muddy up. So sometimes the only thing you can do is either scrape it off or wipe it off. So if I want it light, I can go all the way back to the white. It's better. It's lighter, I can make everything around it darker. It's all about relativity. I can only make this to white, obviously. So what I can do is darken up these shadows. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. See, I can do that. Now that's going to make that. And see, I'm going to let it give it a little curve, because just because, just because. Maybe, let's see if I can. I might be able to come in and it's just, it's a problem with oil paint. Sometimes you just can't get it to do. You almost have to let it dry or something to get the lightness that you want. So, all right, so I can still make other things darker. As I put this down, I'm kind of feathering it this way, and then like this. So it's following everything that I'm putting in there is following this perspective line. Yeah, because I think it's that's really important. And I can put. I like doing this kind of thing where you'll see where
just suggestion.
These little they're just little spots of color that I mean, what is that? Well, it must be a chimney or something. We see. There's a tree up there I didn't see before. Didn't see it at all. It's right here. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can do that, maybe I can do. Yeah, boy, that punched it. That's that Indian yellow and black again. That's yeah, I like that. Well, shoot, I can do this. But we see little bits and pieces of things, and we'll put them. Our brain will put it together. So there's some little trees in there, and there's something in there, and then let's do that, and let's do that. There's a striped awning, and I really want to put some stripes in this awning. I don't want to get too contrived, but right in there. There's an awning coming off of here, darker awning coming off here, and then there's a red awning coming off of here, and then a green awning. So, yay! Green awning comes in like so. And then there's some highlight things in here, like this is actually brighter. Let's see. Well, the way to make that bright is put dark against it. Pops them when I do that. And let's just do some red in here. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And then there's this gabled end on this one building. And then there's a roof. The roof is lighter, so I can come across here like so. And then let's put a green up in this spot here, I think. This is pretty. See, I can have the tree rather than try to create sky holes, just put some little things like that. Maybe. And there's some green. So let's make it a little different green. Ooh, here, I got something that's a little cooler. This is I know what color it is. It's almost like a phthalo green. I'm going to add just a little. That's going to give me. This is going to give me a different green. So I can put that, boom, right there. Then I can put a little lighter green on top of that, like so. That. Now I want to get. I actually want those tables to not be quite entirely that color. So let's mix up a little bit of a blue. I don't know, this is some from another painting, but this is kind of not. Let's see if we can. Yeah, that's going to give me. It's going to give me a little variation in there. So.
Yeah, this actually works great.
Yeah, I think so. What is that color? It's like a lime.
And I can tell you that just watching you paint is like so easy, but in reality, it's actually very, very hard. So you have to train yourself to not to get into details, but
yes, you have to know what to put in and what not to put in. This painting is really about this whole big blank area.
yeah.
So at this point, I kind of look at it and say, is it?
Is it working or not working?
Is
right?
it working or not working? Yeah. So, and I think it's going fine. So, what I'm going to do, there's another thing that I like to do is because I was a photographer for years. I'm very keen with knowledge of when you take a photograph. So often you have what they call keystoning, where things do this and they do this. And I find that if I can go ahead and incorporate that, rather than just make it straight up and down like this, because it gets boring. I want to actually.
So basically, not what you see, but what actually painting.
The truth is,
asking.
The reality is we do see keystoning because our eye level is right here. So that means everything below that is doing this, and everything above it is doing this. But our brain says, no, those are straight up and down. So we perceive them as straight up and down, even though they are doing this kind of thing. So if you know that, and you put it in, and you don't over accentuate it, the viewer will look at it and go, yeah, that makes sense. Partly because they're actually seeing it that way, they just don't realize it, and partly because we're so accustomed to photography. This is all a magic trick. This whole painting thing is nothing but a magic trick. And what we're doing is we're putting together, when I put paint, I'm putting paint on the surface. This is paint. And there's no reality to any of this. And all I'm doing is finding patterns. And if I put those patterns together in the right way, then the viewer then will look at it and say, "Oh, I've seen those patterns before." And you know what those patterns they are? They're in Annapolis, and on a particular afternoon, they will respond. It's a language that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a language.
That's all it is. Yeah. And so if all you have to do is know the language, and then you put it out there, and somebody else. It's like music. If you play the right notes, people go, "Oh yeah, it's music." Play the wrong notes, people go, "Yeah, I know that's noise."
Or chords.
Yeah, whatever. You don't have to be able to. It's like if you don't know French, but you hear somebody speaking French, you'll know it's French. But so same kind of the same thing. I find it fascinating. It's also a manipulation in a way, because what we're doing is we're manipulating a person's perception so that they see what we as artists have seen. Hey, how are you? Just fine, thank you. All right, now I can only put so much paint on there, and it just gets muddy. So that's when I can bring the knife in again. So if this is my point of reference here. So I can do.
And this is your highlight.
These are my highlights. Yeah, rather than try to paint them in, I'll just scrape it back with this knife back to the surface, and it's just a whole other thing. I can control it. Now I've had this knife for a long time. Like this awning, I was having trouble with this awning, getting it as bright as I want, so I'll just come in with that. And when I started using a knife, this particular knife, it was just sort of a gimmick. But over time, I've gotten to where it's a very comfortable tool. like that green, I can get better. And the other thing too, it's a different kind of mark, so it's not, all my marks are not the same. You have to be careful you don't overdo it. Oh, you know what? This I can do though. Here are. You don't have to do much more than that. Just put some windows in. They don't have to be. They're in the sunlight, so that's enough for that. I'm digging this. All right, so let's see. Let's just for fun.
You're
let's
done.
Yeah, just I think I am. Let's get these telephone poles in, and I'll get some. I'll put in some power lines. This town is crazy for power lines. See, those become. I don't want a telephone pole to be a major element, but I do want them to. They do become an element of sort. So I don't know. Let's see. We got. See, that's a little heavy. It's a little heavier than I want, but it's all right. I'm okay with that. So now I can come in with, let's get this bigger, you know, a lot of times I'll get this big brush, which is roughly, it's an inch and a half. I call it a 2-inch brush, but so what I can do, I think, I'm going to juice up just whatever white I have left here. Just lay that in. It's going to come in as a gray. Just going to let it run a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Cut around that, and that sky, I can come back in and, you know what, I want that lighter. I'm going to get some. I think I do. So what I'll do is just put straight white on top of that purple. Some of it will show through. See how I got a little white, like a little street light that happened there. Traffic light. Just never know. So just lay it in. And if I can go ahead and drag through things, I can carve that just a little bit. I'll go ahead and drag that through. I like doing this kind of thing, so that gives me, it's like swoop, I call them swoopy marks.
I call them, putting a thing off the focus.
Yeah. And see, and even with this big honking brush, there's a thing here, I can, you have to learn to control your material. Your tool. This is the only tool we have. If you can't run a brush, you're going to be compromised. So let's do that. Do that. Really liking this area in here with these. So I'm just going to. Now, because I've got the drawing is strong, I can come in and I can be a little bit liberal with my paint. Let's put a panel in there. Doesn't mean anything. Is it there? Yeah. And there's a guy sitting here. Remember the car I had there to begin with? It's gone. It's gone. Not only it's gone, but it's gone. There's a fellow sitting over there, but I'm not going to put him in, but I'm going to put his box in. And then there's a flower pot. Sure. Yeah, that's okay. Then the fun stuff happens. Creates a halftone. Halftone being, you got take a black piece of paper and put white spots on it, you end up with a gray.
It's actually interesting.
Same thing.
It's making a really nice marks.
Yeah, that comes with practice. But to me, that brings it into the world of drawing.
Yeah.
Lets me draw, and if I could do everything with drawing. windows. Have to put them all in. They don't have to be exactly in the right place. Just an indication of windows. And let's go here. And the barricades. Maybe. Yeah, this kind of fun. Kind of fun. If that thing has a gutter or if it's just a...
It doesn't matter, shape.
It doesn't matter. But now I want to know, does it have a gutter?
Yeah.
I can get, well, the other thing too is I can sharpen up lines a lot easier with this than I can with a brush. I have to get a tiny little brush out, and I don't want to do that. I can break edges, which is really nice. See, and with trees, you can do some fun stuff. And put some windows in here, window.
So it's kind of converting the painting to graphical, right? It's just somewhere in the between.
Yeah. It's very much utilizing the graphic mark making that you would get with pencil.
Yeah. With drawing tool.
Drawing tool, exactly. See, I really like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was that chimney, but that's the way it works. So now I can come in and I'll come in and let's just pop some colors. Let's mix up something that we don't have in here, like a, what have I got? Let's take this, I'll tell you what, let's take this. No, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna reach under here and get this is a Viridian, and I'm gonna add some white to it, so it's gonna give me kind of an electric green. Oh, electric green. Phthalo would work even better, but this will work.
Oh, wow.
So that's a color I don't even have in here. Mostly everything's pretty warm. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little fine brush, pick some of this up, and then I'm going to put, and just kind of dance this around. You know, this is, I started doing this several years ago when I was looking, this is the Andy Warhol thing, actually. And I never really took him seriously until I saw a particular exhibit of his work, and I said, wait a minute, I know what he's doing. By doing this, then you get these little accents. You put them almost anywhere. You have to be careful you don't overdo it.
Overdo it, yeah.
But
uniting the color scheme, basically.
It is, and it's a little accent. I can put it. I don't know if I should put them on both sides, but I'm going to. Sometimes when you put it on both sides, it does. It's like you overkill. So I'm not thinking what to do. So, whoops. Yeah, no, here. All right, let's wrap this thing up. What do you say? So I could put a little bit more of this green over on this. And yeah, we can even do it here, actually. Let's do the same thing with just straight red. I've been doing that all week. I've been using this red, these red outlines. This is just a CAD red, but you know, do that. And there's that.
Some accents.
Put that chimney in. I'm not gonna put this everywhere because it's pretty strong. So I could. This is what we call eye candy. Put that stuff in, and it's just, you don't know what it means, but you don't care because it just makes you, it's happy. I'm not sure, but that's all right. Generally, you put it in, it's not gonna hurt anything. I brought a car in. Let's put in. Where's that little brush? Where'd it go? There he is. Some white. I want to get some highlights, really strong highlights, right in here, some hot spots. Just to make that separate. And there's a. Let's put a.
Yeah, nice. this.
That's enough, I think. There you go. It's funny because the oil paint doesn't dry very quickly, but in fact, it's not, I mean, it's still very wet. But as it sits out here in the air, it tacks up. I mean, even just in a short period of time, enough that you can drag across it. I don't know what those are. Okay, I'm getting to the place where I'm doing too much, so I need to.
Yeah. Now the question: where to stop?
Where to stop? The question always comes up. How do you know when it's done? It's when I'm not making it better. I'm just making it different. And usually that's about three strokes too many. But three, if it's only three, it's not going to ruin everything. Let's call it done.
Wow. Yeah, Lon, if someone wants to take the workshop, so how they, because I can tell you, and I can tell all my subscribers that paint like this takes time, and you have to really work shoulder to shoulder with you to learn, how you think, how you apply, and even maybe a couple of workshops. So if people wants to find, how to find your workshops.
Well, the best thing to do is get onto my website, which is lonbrauer.com, and it's real easy to find. LONBRAUER. And I don't have anything really lined up right now, but I'm always setting things up. But I do have some exercises that I'm wanting to get on my website so that people can try those and get this to loosen up like this. Everything has to be intuitive with painting. When you're learning your skills, you're learning, and it takes a while. But you want to get to a place where it becomes intuitive, so you don't have to think about everything, just do it. And so that's my method.
And on your website, you said you have some practicing.
I don't yet, but I will have. But the other thing that you can look, I do have a bunch of videos, and they're all free. So just you're welcome to look those up because they're different demonstrations, and I talk about this very thing. So that'd be the place I'd go if I were me. I would go to my website and look at my videos because you'll get a lot from that.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you very much for this demo. Awesome demo.
It was fabulous.
And good luck on winning.
Let's go throw this thing in a frame.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason why I actually asked about workshop, but I would love to take your workshop.
We should do what we should do. You know what we should do? You and I should get together and get workshops.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that could be really good. The way you paint and the way I paint are similar and yet they're different. I think.
Yeah.
I think
That's a good idea.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
So we're gonna work on this.
Yeah.
So if you want to take a workshop, and next year we'll be we'll be giving a lot of workshops. So we're gonna team up with Lon. So send me a message. I'll give you the schedule and keep you posted. All right. So, Lon, thank you very much.
Yep, we'll talk.
And
yeah.
See you next time.
All right. Take care.
Taking a picture of the man.
And after all, how do you feel about that?
Great, it's people's choice. I mean, the people like me here, so no.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.